have the latest on a search for a missing hiker in southwest Colorado. Crews continue to look for 22-year-old Daniel Lamthach in the Trinity Peaks area. He was last seen July 17th, was reported missing a few days later. Search and rescue crews took the Durango-Silverton train into that search area. They backpacked and camped all weekend long. Other members are in the backcountry. Air and ground crews have combined for hundreds of hours in this search.
Hello folks, and welcome back to another case study, where I talk about and analyze some of the strangest state and national park missing person cases out there. In this segment, I'll be discussing a recent disappearance that occurred in the remote reaches of Colorado and inside the greater San Juan National Forest area. Despite the numerous agencies involved, little has been found pointing to the young man's whereabouts. So let's kick things off. On July 17th of 2022, a 22-year-old hiker named Daniel Lamthach disappeared after going on a day hike in the Molas Lake area. His phone was eventually found by hikers, and his car would be discovered by the San Juan County Sheriff's Office a short time later. Now, Daniel was last believed to be headed to the Trinity Peaks area, near the Weminuki Wilderness in the San Juan National Forest. But despite all the sources thrown into the search, no other clues have surfaced. The search for Daniel would be temporarily suspended on August 2nd, due to inclement weather and a total lack of clues. Since then, a handful of friends, family, and volunteers are keeping the search active. Now, before we kick things off, let's talk about Daniel and what may have brought him to the area. Described as having long black hair, standing about 5 foot 4 inches tall, weighing 130 pounds and wearing glasses, the Salt Lake City resident traveled to the park specifically to hike the Trinity Peaks area, as this was on his bucket list of hiking destinations. Now, according to some sources, Daniel was volunteering as a course worker for a 100-mile endurance race in Colorado's high country. He was last seen as he departed one of the Hard Rocks 100's aid stations en route to a backcountry trek into the Grenadier Range Mountains, according to the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. Deanne Gallegos, spokeswoman for the Office of Emergency Management, stated that Daniel is described as an ultra-runner with a reputation for being healthy and active. He notified a friend that the Trinities, along with Vestal Point, Arrow, and Pigeon Peaks, were on that same bucket list. He also told family members he would set out on the morning of Thursday, July 17th, but would return later that day. So when he failed to check in with loved ones that evening, he was then reported overdue to park officials. It was noted that Daniel had only prepared to be gone no more than a few hours, dressing light and bringing minimal supplies. Well, this would kick off one of the most extensive search efforts in the park's history. On the afternoon of his disappearance, a concerned friend found his car parked at the Molas Lake parking area. Now, I will say there are conflicting reports as to when the car was found, as some sources state that it was found on the same day, while others state that it was discovered a few days later, though the general consensus shows it was found on the same day. I was unable to find much information about this friend and what kind of friendship the two had. But the following day, a hiker stumbled across Daniel's cell phone on the Elk Creek Trail, confirming speculation that he had in fact been heading toward the Trinity Peaks area. Searchers would eventually kick off their initial search at this location. Now, before we dive deeper into the search effort, let's switch gears and talk about the region where he went missing, just to give you an idea of what both Daniel and search and rescue were up against. For starters, let's focus on the trail itself. According to alltrails.com and the U.S. Forest Service, Molas Trail is a section of the Colorado Trail, a through trail from Denver to Durango. Heading east off of Molas Pass, Molas Trail descends into the Animas River Valley and connects with the Elk Creek Trail at mile marker 503, which is located inside the Weminuki wilderness of the San Juan National Forest. The first part of the trail gently descends through meadows next to the creek. This section of the trail offers excellent views of the Grenadiers and the Needles. The trail then begins to drop sharply down the 1,500-foot descent to the Animas River. West from Molas Pass, the Colorado Trail stays at high elevation, above treeline for most of the way to Bolam Pass. This and the connecting trails in the area are popular high-altitude mountain biking trails once the snow melts in July. This is an 8-mile out-and-back trail near Silverton and generally takes an average of 4.5 hours to complete, though we can assume that Daniel may do this in a much shorter time frame, given his physical health. This trail is noted as being great for all types of hikers, ranging in experience from novice to advanced. The best time to hike the Molas Trail is between June and October. Dogs are welcome, but must be on a leash. So let's talk about the large search effort that took place in the days and weeks following Daniel's disappearance. About 11 different agencies participated in the search and rescue effort, including Lifeguard 5 out of Durango, Grizzly Peak Fire Teams, District Helitack Teams, Colorado Search and Rescue, and the La Plata County Search and Rescue Division. The search also included several dog teams, as well as the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention, which utilized multi-mission aircraft with FLIR technology. By July 18th, volunteers joined the effort, but inclement weather would soon complicate operations. Search crews were pulled out of the high country as thunder, lightning, and flash flood-like conditions moved into the area. Deanne Gallegos also mentioned that until new information becomes available, the search for Daniel will be on hold. She added that search and rescue teams have dealt with, quote, treacherous, arduous, and rugged searching conditions. By the time the search reached its third week, more than 800 hours of searches were conducted by both ground and aerial sources. The San Juan County Sheriff's Office wants to remind people you simply need to have a travel plan. You must communicate with friends, family, or neighbors wherever you are going, when you're going, and when you expect to be out. They suggest leaving a note on the dashboard of the car after parking and venturing into the wilderness. Let's go ahead and take a look at some Google Earth images. When we follow the trail between the Molas Trail parking area to the actual Trinity Peaks area, well, there's a whole lot of space between the 2 points, and a rather large network of side trails. On July 18th, his phone was found by hikers on Elk Creek Trail at the Vestal Peak Trail confluence. The phone was found 3.5 miles from the Animas River. Now, I was unable to find any information on what phone records showed, or if Daniel had even tried phoning for help. This phone represented a lifeline, and the fact that searchers found it virtually abandoned on the trail speaks volumes. My senses are leading me to believe that something bad occurred out there. Now, animal predation doesn't seem to be a factor based on the complete lack of evidence for it. Many individuals were interviewed and many leads pursued. We know that Daniel's plans were to hit the Trinity Peaks and come right back, but could there be a reason why he decided not to execute those plans? Did he decide to wander off in another direction for whatever reason? Did he intend to disappear on his own? Was there something in his personal life stressing him out that we just don't know about? Was he the victim of foul play? Did he succumb to the elements? Unfortunately, there just isn't a whole lot of evidence leading to any one of these scenarios. Now, it is my understanding that there are still family members and volunteers keeping the search active, and I will keep an eye out for any updates as this case is still so fresh and new information may come forward at any moment. But until then, we can only speculate about what may have happened to Daniel based on what we do and don't know. Thanks for joining me on this case, and may we never forget the sad and strange disappearance of Daniel Lamthach.